Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're totally shattering some major historical misconceptions and diving deep into the immense wealth, complex trade networks, and remarkable cultural achievements of 10 historic African kingdoms. If you think you already know the full story of ancient global economics, get ready to have your perspective entirely transformed. Take a look at this. When you see these ancient maps, those sprawling caravans braving the massive Sahara Desert, and just piles of raw gold, what actually pops into your head when you think of ancient global wealth? If we're being honest, most traditional history classes tend to hyper-focus on Europe or Asia. But as this rich history reveals, the African continent was absolutely teeming with true economic superpowers, civilizations that dictated and drove global commerce for centuries. To wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this continent's historical wealth, here is our game plan. We'll start by rewriting Africa's economic history, then head over to the empires of the Golden West, followed by the eastern hubs of global trade. Next, we're diving into southern and central powerhouses, exploring the masters of craft and commerce, and finally wrapping it all up with a legacy of wealth. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Rewriting Africa's Economic History. Rich history, powerful empires, remarkable legacies. Far from being somehow isolated or disconnected from the rest of the globe, these African civilizations were building incredibly complex trade routes, driving profound innovation, and showing strategic leadership that literally shaped world history. We are talking about highly organized states that produced immense wealth, had proud kings, and maintained super intricate global relationships. Realizing this fundamental truth completely flips the script on how we view the economic foundations of the entire ancient world. It is definitely time for a rewrite. Moving right along to Section 2, Empires of the Golden West. Now check out how economic power evolved in West Africa across these three foundational empires. It's really like a masterclass in wealth building. Starting with the Kingdom of Ghana, they built their early wealth through sheer strategic brilliance. They essentially parked themselves right at the geographical center of the trans-Saharan trade network and acted as the ultimate ancient toll booth, taxing every single trader that passed through their territory. That structural genius set the stage perfectly for the mighty Mali Empire. And when we talk Mali, the focus shifts to direct control of primary resources, specifically the highly lucrative trade in gold and salt. Under the leadership of Mansa Musa, Mali stacked up a level of legendary wealth that quite literally made waves across the globe. But, wealth evolves. That brings us to the Songhai Empire, who took those established networks and really leveled them up. By turning cities like Gao into massive centers of commerce, they didn't just thrive on trade, they funneled all that cash directly into advanced learning, creating thriving international intellectual hubs where big money directly funded scholarship and cultural innovation. Next up is Section 3, Eastern Hubs of Global Trade. Over in the east, we have two monumental kingdoms acting as critical, wealthy bridges connecting Africa to the broader ancient world. But they played the game totally differently. Look at the Kingdom of Kush. They were an absolute powerhouse when it came to land-based resources and military might, trading heavily in super-prized commodities like gold, iron, and ivory. And their clout wasn't just financial. They were so incredibly powerful that they actually conquered and ruled Egypt for a time. Just think about the gravity of that, dictating the political direction of one of history's most famous civilizations. Now let's contrast that formidable land power with the Kingdom of Aksum. Aksum was a vital economic nexus, but their whole domain was defined by maritime dominance and strategic trade routes. They were perfectly positioned to link Africa directly to the booming economies of Arabia and Asia. They weren't just dabbling in regional exchanges. They were a central, beating heart in a massive web of ancient globalization. Let's head south for Section 4, Southern and Central Powerhouses. Down in the southern region, we hit the absolute architectural genius of Great Zimbabwe. This was a kingdom thriving on intense, highly profitable regional trade. And what did they do with all that surplus wealth? They mobilized labor and resources on a breathtaking scale to construct highly impressive, complex stone cities. The fact that these enduring stone structures are still standing speaks volumes about their society. You just don't build sprawling stone metropolises without serious political organization, amazing engineering chops, and obviously the immense economic wealth required to back it all up. It's a profound physical legacy of their prosperity. Meanwhile, over in Central Africa, the Kingdom of Congo stands out for some incredibly sophisticated statecraft. Sure, they were highly active participants in global trade, managing complex economic exchanges way beyond their borders. But what makes them truly exceptional is how they leverage that economic muscle politically. The Congo actually conducted formal, recognized diplomacy directly with Europe. They were navigating complex international relations as a fully sovereign power. And the secret sauce that made all this work? Their incredibly strong, centralized rule. You need a seriously unified state apparatus to juggle global diplomacy and extensive international commerce at the exact same time. All right, Section 5, Masters of Craft and Commerce. Back towards the central and western interior, we find empires building immense wealth through a brilliant mix of specialized artisan craft and strategic resource management. Take the Benin Kingdom. They got incredibly wealthy by basically turning craft into high art. Their skilled artisans mastered bronzework and ivory to such a level of technical perfection that it generated huge trade wealth and seriously boosted their global status. Then you have the Kanem-Bornu Empire, who figured out early on that geography is destiny. By dominating key, lucrative trade routes, they raked in the capital needed to build extensive centers of scholarship, totally blending economic control with intellectual dominance. And finally, the Oyo Empire. They became a dominant force in Yorubaland using a super effective dual engine of prosperity, aggressive trade networks paired with highly productive agriculture. By producing massive agricultural surpluses, they could feed growing populations and fuel even more economic expansion. Every single one of these kingdoms demonstrates a uniquely brilliant strategy for accumulating power. Which brings us to our final stop, Section 6, A Legacy of Wealth. Discover 10 of Africa's wealthiest historical kingdoms and learn how they built powerful empires through trade, innovation, and leadership. You know, taking this journey through these 10 unique historical kingdoms uncovers an untold or at least vastly undertaught history of profound economic dominance. From the toll networks of Ghana and the gold of Mali to the towering stone cities of Great Zimbabwe, these civilizations built sprawling empires through trade, relentless innovation, and strategic leadership. We're talking about proud kings, sophisticated diplomacy, and magnificent cities that easily rivaled any civilization on Earth at the time. They were absolutely not mere participants in the ancient global economy, they were its central drivers. So I want to leave you with a final question to chew on. How does knowing this history change your view of the ancient world? The next time you picture ancient wealth, power, and innovation, your mind shouldn't just automatically default to Europe or Asia. It absolutely needs to travel to the massive trade hubs of Aksum, the brilliant bronze artisans of Benin, and the global diplomatic reach of the Kingdom of Congo. Keep exploring, keep questioning the historical narratives you've been handed, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.